So now I have the craft stuffing inside of the body and the neck, and we're ready to sew the front of the neck first. So we're going to take the head and we're going to line up the front, and make sure that as you sew, the front nose is facing forward. You don't want it crooked, so you don't want the head looking like that or like that. You want it straight. And then you're going to go underneath, and you want to count back from the smile. So there's one row round right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right under the 9th row round is where you're going to sew the front of the body in place with your tapestry needle, and then come back. So then after you sew the front only, then you can sew the back, and I'm going to sew my back. If you look at the ear and go one round back, then that's the round that I'm going to sew the back across and secure the back in place, and that will tilt the head slightly forward at an angle. Then after you finish sewing the back and securing the back, you can make sure that the nose is still straight in the front, and then angle the head slightly, and then just finish sewing the sides of the head. Then you can see that the nose is facing forward like it's supposed to, and there's a slight tilt to the head, which is what I wanted. And this is what it looks like from the back. Now I'm going to show you how to make the feet. So you're going to need your dark brown yarn first. And just take the yarn, drape it across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Take your crochet hook, go under those 2 loops and just bring up a loop, just like we've done before. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. And then you're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you can go ahead and close it up just like we've done before. And then you're just going to turn your work so that we can make our crochet stitches into the first stitch. So in the first stitch, you're going to place 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do the same thing. So every stitch in the round is going to have 2 single crochet for a total of 12 stitches in the round, and then come back. So now you have a total of 12 stitches in the round, and you can turn it over and pull on that loose yarn end if you need to close the center. Then go ahead and get your yarn marker, place it right where you left off. We're going to start our increase rounds. We're going to make 2 increase rounds, which means we're going to increase the number of stitches in the round. So for your first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you should have a total of 18 stitches in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up to where you left off for our second increase round. For this increase round, just make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then make 2 single crochet into the third stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you should have a total of 24 stitches in the round. then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and for one round you're going to make one single crochet in every stitch around. So only one single crochet in each stitch around for only one round, and then come back. So now this is how your work should look, and we're going to make the front portion of the paw now, or the hoof I should say. So you're going to take and move your yarn marker up, and we're going to make 7 single crochet 2 stitches together. We're going to do that 7 times. So for the first single crochet 2 stitches together, you're going to take your crochet hook, go into the first stitch, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook. Go ahead and go into the next stitch, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 loops for a single crochet 2 stitches together. It's also known as a decrease stitch. So that was our first one. We're going to do this 7 times. So I'm just going to show a couple of them for you. So you go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 loops for your second single crochet 2 stitches together. And you're going to repeat this 7 times and then come back. So now you can see how you have the front portion of the paw after completing those 7 single crochet 2 stitches together. Then just make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches. Then just take and move the yarn marker up, and then you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 3 rounds. So 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So for each of these rounds I had a total stitch count of 17, and I finished 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 3 rounds. Now we're going to get ready to change colors. So just make 1 single crochet in each stitch until you're in the back of the leg. So when you're in the back of the leg, come back, and then I'll show you how to color change. So now I'm in the back of the leg, and I just want to show you there's 2 different styles that you can make for your reindeer leg. You can make the Yosemite colored with the dark brown, just like this one, or you can add a little bit of beige in to your reindeer leg. So you change colors the same way. You would just add the beige in, and I made 3 rounds of the beige color before switching back to the Yosemite. So either way would be fine to do. For this leg, I'm going to be just switching to the Yosemite colored yarn. So I'm just going to take my crochet hook and go into the next stitch over to bring up 2 loops, and then you're going to join whatever yarn color that you want to change to, whether it be beige, white, or the Yosemite color, and then go ahead and chain 1. I'm just going to pull on the brown loop yarn, and then just chain 1, and then just set your work down, and then cut the previous colored yarn, which was dark brown, and then just tie a knot. I like to usually tie a triple knot just to really make it secure. And then you can add stuffing into the paw at any time that you want to. I usually add just a little bit into the paw to give it form. Then you're just going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and you don't need your yarn marker anymore because you can tell by the color change how many rounds you've completed. So now you're just going to make one single crochet in every stitch around until you have a total of 18 rounds. So with my beige color with the Yosemite, you still have, from the first color change, you still have a total of 18 rounds before you close. So here I'm only going to use Yosemite, so the whole thing's going to be a total of 18 rounds of just the color change. So I'm going to start the counting of the rounds at the color change for a total of 18 rounds of just one single crochet in every stitch around. After you finish your 18 rounds of one single crochet in every stitch around, then you can go ahead and place the craft stuffing into your leg. Then we're going to take and just single crochet 2 stitches together until the work is almost closed. So single crochet 2 stitches together, or your decreased stitches. So you go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over, and then just bring the yarn through all 3 loops. And you keep repeating that until you're almost closed, and then come back and I'll show you how to slip stitch the rest of it closed. So you can see that I'm almost closed. So now I want to skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. And you just keep repeating that all the way around until the work is closed. Then, after you finish closing, you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over, and then just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Then you can just take your tapestry needle or darning needle and just go right where you tied your knot or you finished off, come out anywhere, and then just trim your loose yarn end. So now I'm going to show you how to make the little hoof partition there, right down the center of the hoof. I'm going to show you how to make that. So go ahead and take your dark brown yarn and place it onto your tapestry needle, the same color that you used for your hoof. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to go right in the magic circle and then come out right in the center. So mine is about, if you count from the magic circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 I came up with my tapestry needle. And then just pull the yarn through. Make sure that you leave plenty of yarn for burying your loose yarn end. Then you're going to take and go straight down back into the magic circle. And then you're also going to come out right in the same spot as before. And then for mine, I kind of hold on to my loose yarn end, and at the same time I just bring the yarn through, and then make sure that the yarn falls on the center, and then just pull it snugly. So gently pull on it snugly until you have the 2 parts separated. Then go back again one more time and then come up right where you came up before. And then you're going to come right back up again. And again, you want to make sure that the yarn is snug and you have a nice separation in the hoof. And then sometimes this can bring out some of the crochet holes and you can see the stuffing. So what I do is I kind of go about a stitch over and I just go right across. with my tapestry needle and then just bring the yarn through. And then that kind of hides that a little bit. And then I'm just going to go right across the top. And then when you're happy with the way it looks, you can go right back about a stitch over, and then I come right back out the bottom where I started. And then you have a nice separation in the hoof. And then you can tie a knot on the bottom. And then just take the loose yarn end, place it right onto your tapestry needle, and then you're going to go right in where you tied the knot, and then just come out anywhere on the back. Make sure you come out in the dark brown area and not in the Yosemite colored area. And then just kind of gently pull on that loose yarn end and then trim it. So go ahead and bury your loose yarn ends and then come back. So now go ahead and make all 4 of your reindeer legs and then come back. So now we're going to place the legs, and I just put some stitch markers in place just to show you where I'm going to go in and place my legs. And I usually put the front legs in line close to the ears. Mine are just past the ears. And I'm 7 stitches back from the front panel, the side of the front panel. So count 7 stitches back. After the 7th stitch, I placed my stitch marker. And then the front panel, the bottom of the front panel, I counted up 2, 4, 6, 7 rows. 7 rows, and then placed my stitch marker. And then on the back, from the back panel, I went in 8 stitches, and then from the bottom of the back panel, 2, 4, 6, 7 rows up. So make sure that the rows are the same for the front and back legs. So now just take your tapestry needle or your upholstery needle. I like using my upholstery needle now. And I just put the same colored yarn, the Yosemite colored yarn, onto my upholstery needle. And then I'm going to take my first leg. Now make sure that your hoof is facing forward. You don't want to put it on backwards. And then you're going to count down about 3 rounds from the top. And then make sure you go in the side of the leg and then go through to the opposite side at the same level. So make sure that you're at the same level, and then just bring your yarn through. So I bring mine through and make sure that I leave enough of a loose yarn end for pulling the legs or cinching the legs to the body. And then I'm going to go into the body. So I've already got it marked. I removed my stitch marker so it's not in the way. And then I'm just going to go through the body with my upholstery needle, and I'm going to make sure I come out at the same level. So here's the bottom. So 2, 4, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. So I'm coming out exactly at the same level on the opposite side as best as I can. Then you just bring the yarn through, and then I usually leave about 1 to 2 inches between the leg and the body. Then you just take the other leg and make sure again that the hoof is facing forward, and then you're going to go in the side about 3 rounds down and then back out the opposite side at the same level, and then just bring the yarn through. So it's that easy. Then you're going to go about a stitch over anywhere and then go right back through the leg and then you're going to come out about a stitch over on the opposite side, and then just bring the yarn back through. Oop. Then you just go right into the body, and you can go anywhere about a stitch away, up or down, back through to the opposite side, and then just come out about a stitch up or down. Doesn't matter where. Then just bring the yarn right back through. And again, I keep about an inch or two of yarn between the legs and the body. And then you just go right back through to where you started. And then I like to go through twice. So I'm actually going to go right back through again another time. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not, or if you just want to keep it one. So go ahead, put the legs on the same way that I am, and then come back. And then I'll show you how I cinch the legs to the body. Then, after you finish going through twice, then you can take and pull on both loose yarn ends and cinch the legs to the body. Then you just take your tapestry needle after you tie your knot, go right in where you tied your knot, and then come out anywhere on the inside of the leg. And then sometimes you can cinch the knot down too. And then sometimes I'll go back in about a stitch over and then just come out again on the back of the leg. Just kind of bury the loose yarn end really well. And then just trim the loose yarn end. And then you're just going to bury your loose yarn ends the same way, and then just attach the back legs the exact same way. So now I'm going to show you how to make the collar. So for the male ones, I used the red colored yarn, the bright red or the cherry red colored yarn. So for the collar, we're going to start by first grab the color that you want to use, whether it's bright red for the male reindeer or a pretty pink color for your female reindeer. Or you can use a red one for your female reindeer, whatever you want. Then just take your yarn, fold it over on itself to form a loop. Then take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and cinch the loop around the hook. And then you're going to make a chain. I'm just going to show you 4 of them on video tutorial. For mine, I made a chain of 33. So you can make a chain of 33, just make sure that it fits around the neck of your reindeer. So then you just yarn over, turn your hook upside down, go through the loop for your first chain. I'm just going to show you 4 of them. It's my second chain. So yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through the loop for your third, fourth. So go ahead, finish your chain of 33, and then come back. After you finish your chain of 33, then you're going to make a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So count back from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to make a double crochet into that 4th chain from the hook. So you go ahead and yarn over, go into that 4th chain from the hook, and then just bring up a loop. Then you have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through 2 of the loops. You have 2 loops remaining, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the 2 remaining loops. Then you just make 1 double crochet into every stitch back across. So go ahead, finish 1 double crochet into each stitch back across, and then come back. After you finish your last double crochet in the last stitch, you should have a total of 31 double crochet. Then you can go ahead and just finish off. Just yarn over and then just pull enough yarn through to sew the ends of your collar together. So now you want to decide which way that you want your collar to have, which side you want for the right side and which side for the wrong side. And then once you decide which side you want showing, just take and bring the collar around the reindeer. Make sure that you can turn your reindeer to the side too, so you can work with it a little bit easier, because you can always turn the collar when you're finished. Make sure that it's not twisted, and then you're going to take the loose yarn end on the top, the short one, and you're going to take and join the top of the collar with the short loose yarn end first, and then just tie a knot. Make sure you don't sew to the reindeer. And then just pull those ends together and make sure that you tie a knot. Get my hand out of the way. So I usually like to go through twice. And again, you don't want to sew it to the reindeer, because you want to be able to move the collar around with the bell. So just pull the loose yarn end through. And then we'll bury the loose yarn end later. Then you're going to take the long end that you left for sewing, put the tapestry needle on it. Then you're going to take your bell, or if you want to use a charm, you can use a charm too, whatever you want to use for your little reindeer. I like the little bells. And then just bring the bell through, and then just join the bottom of the collar. And then you're going to tie a knot joining the bottom of the collar, and at the same time you tied the bell onto your collar. And then just tie your knot. Then you can take and kind of weave your loose yarn end through the back of the work. And I'm just going to tie another knot at the top just to really make sure it's secure. And then I'm just going to take and kind of turn the collar over slightly without stretching it too much. And then I'm just going to take and weave the loose yarn end through the wrong side. And then I usually just go through a couple of times for mine. And just make sure it's nice and buried. So go ahead, bury your loose yarn ends after you sew your collar together. And looks cute when you're finished, has a little bell. Now I'm going to show you how to make the female reindeer bow. To make the bow, you're going to take whatever color yarn you want for the bow, and you're going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. And then take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and thumb. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down, and then cinch the loop around your crochet hook. And then you're going to chain 5. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into that first chain. So go into that first chain that you made, and then turn your work. Get that loose yarn end out of the way. And then you're just going to make a slip stitch. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and then bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch to join into a circle. Then go ahead and chain 1. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the center of the circle. So go into the center of the circle, bring up a loop, and then just make a single crochet. And then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that counts as your first treble crochet. We're going to make 4 more treble crochet into the center of the circle. So to make a treble crochet, you're going to yarn over twice, go into the center of the circle, and then bring up a loop. So now you should have 4 loops on your hook. Go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2 of the loops, 3 loops remaining. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2 of the loops, 2 loops remaining. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the 2 remaining loops. And so I'm going to be making 3 more. So yarn over twice, go into the center of the circle, bring up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through 2. So now I have a total of 3 treble crochet completed. I'm going to make my 4th one. And then my last one. So now I have a total of 5 treble crochet, and you can scoot them over in the circle. Then to finish up the one side of the bow, you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into the center of the circle. So take your crochet hook, go into the center of the circle, and then you're going to yarn over and then bring the yarn through the center of the circle and the loop on the hook to slip stitch the one side of the bow in the center of the circle. Now we're going to start the other side of the bow. So you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that counts as your first treble crochet on the opposite side. So now you're going to make 4 more treble crochet into the opposite side. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're going to chain 4 and then slip stitch into the center of the circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the center of the circle. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish off. So just yarn over and make sure you pull a lot of yarn through because you're going to wrap the yarn around the center of the bow. So now you can take that long end that you left and just wrap it around the center of the bow. Keep the loose yarn end to the side and then just kind of wrap the center to make the center of the bow. And then as you're wrapping it, you want to keep that loose yarn end out of the way, but you also want to kind of form the side of the bow as you're making the center. And then once you have the center made, then you can turn your work over and then just tie a knot with the loose yarn end on the back. So without messing up the front of your bow, just gently tie a knot And then you straighten out the bow in the front so it looks the way that you want. And then you have your cute little bow all ready to sew onto your project. So what I do is I just take that loose yarn end, the small one, and put it onto the tapestry needle and just gently take and bury it on the back. Underneath, and then just trim it. And then you're ready to sew with the long end that you have remaining. You're ready to sew it onto the project. So I just took my tapestry needle and I'm going to sew the bow to the corner of the ear. And this is what her bow looks like after I sew it in place. And then here is what it looks like on the back. So now I'm going to show you how to make the tail. So go ahead and get the main color for your reindeer, and then you're going to fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and thumb, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down. And we're going to make a chain of 9. So yarn over, go through the loop for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then after you make your chain of 9, you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So you just count back 2 chains from the hook, 1, 2, and then go into that stitch and then bring up a loop and finish your single crochet. And then you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch back across. And then when you finish your last stitch, you should have a stitch count of 8 for the first row. So now we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to chain 1 because we're going to maintain the stitch count of 8. So go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a chain 1 and then turn your work. And then that chain 1 counts as the first stitch for the next row. So take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over and then bring up a loop. And then this will be your second single crochet. And then the next stitch for your third. And you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch back across. And you should still have a stitch count of 8 when you finish. Now you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work. And again, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then 1 single crochet into every stitch back across. And you're going to keep repeating this, chain 1 and then 1 single crochet into every stitch across. For this will count as your first one. You need a total of 7, counting this row that we're making right now. So this one counts as your first one, and then you need a total of 7 rows. So keep repeating chain 1 with 1 single crochet into every stitch, and again I'm counting this one as the first one, and you need a total of 7 more in counting this row. So this is what my work looks like now. So now after you finish that last single crochet, you're not going to chain 1. So you're just going to turn your work and then you're going to work into the next stitch over. So in the next stitch over, just bring up a loop and then make a single crochet. and then you're going to make a single crochet into each stitch back across, and when you're finished you should have a stitch count of 7. So this is my third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Then again you're just going to turn your work, and again you're going to go into the next stitch and make a single crochet. That's your first one. Go into the next one for your second, next one for your third, next one for your fourth single crochet, next one for your fifth, and then the last one should be your sixth single crochet. And you're going to turn your work, and you're going to keep repeating this until you get down to 2 stitches. So I'm just going to work it with you. I'm just going to keep on turning my work and making a single crochet in each stitch. And then what that does is it creates a point on the top of your tail, which is what you want. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm turning. Here's 1, 2, and 3 single crochet. So now this will be my last row, 1 single crochet, and then next stitch 2 single crochet. Then you're just going to finish off. So you can see how it was straight where we maintained our stitches, and then we have a slight tip to our tail. Now you're going to go ahead and yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. We're not going to be sewing the pieces of the tail together. We're going to crochet the 2 pieces together. So now you need to make the exact same thing with your beige colored yarn, or white, beige or white colored yarn. So now you should have both pieces finished. So then you're going to take the white or beige portion and you're going to lay it on top of the Yosemite colored yarn, or whatever main color yarn that you're using. And then I usually just tie the loose yarn ends together. So for mine, the right side is facing up. So the side of the tail that's going to be showing is actually on the outside. So make sure that you have the right sides that you want showing together. Then you're going to take your crochet hook and just go right into that bottom corner to join the main color yarn. So go ahead and bring in your main colored yarn, and then you're going to bring up a loop. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end for burying into your work, and then go ahead and chain 1, and then just tie a knot with the loose yarn ends. Then you're going to take and chain 2. 1, 2. And that counts as your first half double crochet. And we're going to make half double crochets in each stitch. You're going to evenly space the half double crochets all the way to the tip of the ear. So you just yarn over, go into the next stitch over, and you kind of have to estimate the stitches because you're working along the side of the stitches on your ear. Then just bring up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through all 3 loops on the hook to complete your half double crochet. And again, you're making half double crochet stitches, and make sure you combine that when you make your stitches you're going through both stitches of the ear. And then just bring up a loop and then complete your half double crochet. And what you're doing is you're crocheting the 2 edges of the ear pieces together. with the half double crochet. And you just kind of evenly space your half double crochet stitches all along the side of the ear. Until you get to the tip of the ear. Yep. Went right in between the yarn. Let me fix that. So sometimes I'll jiggle my crochet hook to get through both stitches. This one I'm getting caught on the stitch on the ear. There we go. And so if you have difficulty getting into, you can go one at a time too. Normally I don't have this much trouble. It's because I'm recording it. That's how it always works, right? So just one half double crochet in every stitch up the side of the ear. And then when you get to the tip of the ear, just come back. And then I'll show you how I work around the tip of the ear to go back down the opposite side. So now I made it all the way up to the tip of the ear, and I just kind of tuck my loose yarn ends into the inside of the ear. And I already made my first half double crochet in the first stitch on the tip of the ear, and I'm going to make 2 half double crochet into the same stitch, and I'm only doing that for the tip of the ear. And then I'm going to make 2 half double crochet into the next stitch. So just around the tip of the ear you want to place a couple of stitches into the same stitch in both of those stitches around the top. Then you can continue down the opposite side. And then you just make 1 half double crochet evenly spaced all down the opposite side of the ear. Oops, I don't mean ear, I mean tail. So I mean you can make ears like this too, which is what I normally do, but I didn't mean ear, I meant the reindeer tail. So when you finish your last half double crochet on the opposite side, go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the back of the tail onto the reindeer. You're going to use your beige or white colored yarn to sew the white or beige portion. And I just tuck my loose yarn ends into the inside, and then you want to put a little bit of craft stuffing into the tail. Then the tail is ready to be sewn on. So you want to have the white or beige portion facing towards the rear. And then I line up the white or beige portion with the top seam where the top meets the back. Just line it up with that seam. Make sure it's centered on the back, and then once you have it centered, then you can take and sew it in place. So then you just take and go in and out with your tapestry needle and just sew the back portion only with the Yosemite colored or Maine colored yarn. Then you take your beige colored yarn or white colored yarn and just take and sew the back portion of the tail with the same color. Then you are all finished with your cute little reindeer.